A bullshit.
Oh
A
my God.
bullshit.
Dude, it's been fun, but we're back and we've been talking for about 20 minutes and we hadn't been recording and we're just like, let's shut up, restart this conversation because we should have been recording this entire time.
Yeah.
Did you just fucking throw up?
Yeah. How can you tell?
We do this all the fucking time. And if you guys could see what happens, like the conversation happens before and after we're done recording. We're like, fuck, why aren't we recording? Because we should have, like, because we have a time limit, not like as like this has to be done by this. It's just our platform that we use, and software like that. Um, it has like a 2 hour limit to upload and to the RSS feed that it does. Unfortunately, if we were to download it secondhand and then put it in and do everything individually, we could do longer. It's just a pain in the dick, So it's like, well, that's why we just kind of try to keep it under 2 hours. We could go. I mean, hell, the live stream we did with Jen Mac, I think we went for over 3 hours at a time, But that one's not
Yeah.
uploaded on the other platforms because again, it was over 2 hours, and we just left it on the live stream that directly uploaded to X and YouTube, and didn't cut it for an official one or whatever. But holy shit, man! If some of the shit that could get caught and recorded that we talk about before and after we're done recording, it'd be funny as hell, man. Like if we had like another like off camera, like off air camera recording just to catch our like other shit, right? That would
Oh,
be
yeah.
fun. That would be fun to catch that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Well, last week, the show you weren't on, we went for, I think after we got off, we were still on for probably another hour bullshitting just about
Well,
different stuff. And there was a lot of shit that I'm like, fuck, man. Some of the things that we're talking about off camera is like, fuck, man, we really should have talked about it on camera.
it's the same thing with Jen. Even though we went over 3 hours on that episode, we were still
Mhm.
talking for like over an hour after the episode
Yeah.
was done. Like we could have gone for like a whole nother hour and a half. Like that would have been a long ass
Oh,
stream and it
yeah.
would have been great, We're just chilling,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, fuck, I gotta get inside. I gotta go to bed. I gotta go work and shit. But like, and all this stuff is, we're just chilling, talking, hanging out and everything. But it's good fun, talking to people and everything. But, dude,
Sometimes.
yeah, man. So last week regarding why I wasn't able to be on the episode, that day as a whole was such a pain in the fucking ass. So, I called you earlier that day saying that you might have to do it solo for completely different reasons than why I didn't even come on the episode,
Yeah.
Like, I called you in the middle of the day. So I took my kids back to their mom. They're back home in San Antonio now. I took them back on Sunday. But last week, was trying to get a referral through TRICARE for Grace so she can go to an appointment on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very last minute, and I was trying to get it done just because the office is here in Dallas and it was going to be easier for me to take her physically. So we were trying to get it rushed through, and nothing moves fast when it comes to TRICARE or anything like that.
Yeah.
But to be fair, TRICARE was actually very helpful. I didn't have any actual issue with TRICARE. It was the doctor's office that was pissing me off, because the week before we had gotten on the schedule saying, all right, cool. I'm gonna make a virtual appointment with her PCM that the kids see down in San Antonio. She didn't need to be, Grace didn't need to be on it, whatever, just me saying, hey, I need a referral put in for this or whatever. And it was quick and easy. The PCM put in the referral, no issues. And then come Monday, because it was the referral was put in 2 Fridays ago. The referral's still not technically done because it takes a little bit. Tuesday, we have a virtual appointment with the doctor's office. I was going to call to kind of do like a virtual intake again. Gracie, to be honest, she's just calling me to get some information, right? Well, I get a call earlier that morning saying, hey, we still haven't got an approved referral. We're going to have to cancel this. I was like, hey, do me a favor. Don't cancel it. Just let me call TRICARE real quick. Let me call you back. And the lady called me. They called me. She's like, okay, that's fine. So I called TRICARE. The lady I talked to at TRICARE was extremely helpful. She put in a escalated request to like really push it through, put it on information. She said, look, technically it's supposed to take like 24 hours, like a business day. She's like, but I would say just keep checking it, and over the next couple hours, it might even get done today because I got it done pretty early in the morning. She's saying, but I have to say, technically it could take 24 hours, right? So I called back to the office and said like, hey, this is what's going on. The escalation's put up. The referral is there. It's gonna be done by the end of the day, most likely. It's like, and I was like, is there any way, you could just keep me on there and whatever? She's like, well, you have to get approval from the billing department. I was like, okay, fine, transfer me to the billing department. So I call it, she's transferred the billing department. I'm talking to that person and she's like, well, I don't see anything. I don't see anything on your schedule. I was like, excuse me? She's like, there's nothing on your schedule. So I don't know what you're talking about. That lady went ahead and canceled me when I asked her not to.
Oh, that's bullshit.
So I get transferred back and I was like, hey, did you cancel the appointments? She's like, yeah, because you don't have a approved referral. I was like, I asked you not to while I called TRICARE. She's like, yeah, but then you called back and said it wasn't done. I was like, yeah, but you also said I need to get approval from the billing department, which I was on the phone with. And then she's the one that told me that you cancel it. So how can I get approval if you already canceled the appointments? And she was like, well, we can't have her on the books if we have nothing to bill. I was like, there is going to be something to bill. It'll be done. Like her appointment wasn't until 4 p.m. This is like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, we can't put her on the schedule if we don't have a referral. I was like, that's incorrect. She's been on the schedule for over a week without a approved referral. So what sense does that make? She's like, well, we put her on there under good faith, saying that there'd be an approved referral by today. I was like, well, today's not over yet. And I told you it's going to be done within the next few hours. And now you're telling me you can't put her on the schedule.
Well, what if you were going to self-pay it?
Well, it's not even that. It's the fact that we had even if it was just the intake portion of it, which would have cost, practically nothing. It was that I needed to make sure I didn't lose my Friday appointment, which, was the main one. And we had them both, and she took both of them off. And so and then all she kept saying was like, well, there's nothing I could do. I was like, no, there's something you can do. You're just refusing to do it. And less than an hour later, the referral was showing approved. And in that less than an hour time frame is when I called you saying like, I don't know if I'm going to be making it on tonight because I'm going to be like blowing up TRICARE and blowing up this doctor's office trying to make sure that I don't lose my appointments. And I called the doctor's office. It was like, so the referral's approved. Again, this is less than an hour after she told me she couldn't do anything. She's like, well, I'll just have to call the billing department. And then she called me back about an hour later. She says, so the referral's showing approved. Do you want the same appointments back? I'm like, yes, I want the same appointments back. Like,
at least they still had the appointment available.
That was my main issue. I was like, God, just hoping I don't lose these damn times, right? Then I get everything done. I get home barely, by 6 o'clock, by 6:30, I come running out here to get logged on to have the fucking internet in the studio down.
Yeah, that sucks.
And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And so that's when I'm like, told you, texting you a text, get started. I'm troubleshooting the internet because I thought maybe if I just do a couple things, it'd be good. And I was like, no, like it just would not fucking come on. That's when I called in. I was like, dude, I don't know what's going on. It's just it will not turn on. And I thought maybe it was the router. I thought maybe it was even my laptop, but I end up the mesh, repeaters, like I just end up doing a hard reset on both of them and it fixed the problem, but I was just like, fuck, dude. It was just so fucking frustrating. I was just like, I did all of that and I made it home to start recording just to run into no internet. I was just like, God fucking damn it, dude.
So that night you couldn't have just walked out there and hit reset on it?
Well, it's not just this one. It's the one at the main house and the one here. And I
No.
didn't know that those were the problem at the time because I was troubleshooting. Maybe it was me, like my laptop trying to connect to, or just like the
Yeah.
router that I have plugged into it, right? Because I kept resetting the router and everything like that. But in order to do that, I also have to go get the ladder and everything to come up here and start, to get it to reach them because it's at the top of the shed and everything. So yeah, at the time I was trying to think that because it has lights on the side of the towers outside and they were
Mhm.
showing connected. So there was nothing to make me think that that was the problem. It wasn't showing that they were showing connected. So finally,
Yeah.
when it was all said and done, I was like, let me just reset these and see what happens. And that's what ended up happening. So
Well, at least you know the problem in the future.
yeah, but hopefully, but the funny thing is after I reset them, the speed
Mhm.
actually increased way more.
Really? Well,
Yeah, like it doubled.
I wonder if they had some sort of software update that they did, and then you had to reset them after that software update.
I don't know. I just know that when I reset it and then I did the speed test, it was like twice as twice as fast than it was. I was like, sweet, cool, I'll take it.
Oh, yeah, good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was good. I did like having her on. You know, she super bright. We really didn't go that political on most of we kind of more so just bullshitted on the majority of that show and went down some fucking rabbit holes. And it's good to know that she's really into the conspiracy theory bullshit. So,
Yeah. It was funny, when I was editing it the next day. Because sometimes when I edit our episodes, I'm like, well, I'm rewatching what I just did, so like I know what's happening. So it may take me a lot longer to edit just because I'm like, I don't want to keep listening to myself talk here, right?
yeah.
But I was when I was editing y'all's episode, I'm hearing it all for the first time. So I got it done super quick because I'm just sitting there thinking like, God damn it. Like really? Like, this fucker just can't keep his mouth shut. Like and it was and then guys, like if you ever truly understand how frustrating it is with this guy, you saw how he couldn't stay on one point more than 2 minutes. He just keeps trailing off. And this is what happens when I'm not here to keep him into one focus.
Well, fucking my ADHD is so goddamn bad. Like, I really do have some of the worst fucking ADHD of anyone I fucking know. I'll be honest with it. I fucking know it. I'm like bing 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 bing, just like shooting a fucking bullet into a steel room. That motherfucker ricochets everywhere.
And you'll just sit there and be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, look a squirrel. Well,
uh,
and so on the show, it cracked me up because so, the new snake that I have in here and the fucking nom monitors in here in two different enclosures, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to pay attention to her, but out of the corner of my eye, I keep seeing, so the nom monitor, and they've got these big tails and they whip shit and all that. They're kind of like, they do like an iguana does. So that little motherfucker's whipping the shit out of the glass and of the enclosure, like the front of the enclosure and shit like that. And then this fucking snake is crawling up to the top of the enclosure and just free falling to the bottom. And I can hear it. And I asked her at one point time, I'm like, did you fucking hear that? And she's like, yeah, I heard that thud because that little motherfucker was dropping hard. I was like, God damn. But yeah, but she was good regardless.
I think you got a retarded snake.
Well, the problem is she's really smart.
It doesn't seem that
She
smart. She's just going up and falling.
It's funny because anytime I'm in here, she knows I'm in here and she always wants to get out. That's when she wants to get out and she just wants to explore. So I think she's doing it because she knows that I'm going to open that goddamn door and I'm going to let her out. But
Get your
whatever.
attention.
Yeah. But anyways,
Uh, fucking. So, I mean, they had Lindsey Graham's funeral, right? But did you
yeah,
see that?
Trump giving out Tic Tacs.
Yeah. Did you see that they're wanting to fucking rename Charleston Air Force Base in South Carolina or North Carolina, whichever Carolina he was the fucking senator for after Lindsey Graham?
No, I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
It's about to be the gayest fucking base ever, dude. Like, and then like you have like it's like all the fucking Republicans um are getting into lockstep, like Lindsey Graham was a right? Because even Nancy Mace, who was a big proponent of trying to get the Epstein files out.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. Yep, here it is. It's just of all the fucking people, like says Joint Base Charleston may soon carry a new name, Joint Base Lindsey Graham. Fucking gay. Secretary of the Air Force has ordered the staff to begin the process of renaming the installation, citing his decades of service to both the Air Force and Congress. Graham spent years fighting for this base, helped secure hundreds of millions in federal funding, played key role in bringing Boeing to South Carolina, and just this may help direct $212 million towards Coast Guard readiness there. There's no more fighting tribute to put his name on the base he spent a career fighting for.
I think that they should just name a base after him in Israel.
I mean, he told everyone when there was a whichever hurricane it was, saying like he's like, it's over, but look at what's happening to our friends in here. He didn't give a goddamn about those people. All
Yeah.
he cared about was going on in Israel. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. I mean, why? That's retarded.
Yeah. Instead of putting his constituents first, he put, the Israelis first.
I want to say, if I remember correctly, I could be making this up. Who knows? But someone had brought up that he was taking like taxpayer funded, flights, on official government planes and everything like that to Israel like once or twice a month.
Yeah, you and I saw that. Remember,
Yeah,
we talked about that offline there, and there was someone else that was doing it too. There was like 3 different ones
could be
doing it.
Ted Cruz as well for all we fucking know. But Lindsey Graham was definitely the one that came up. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Think of the amount of money that could have gone back to his constituents, to the homeless veteran population, to
Or even just that could have just been used in general for anywhere in the states. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
Because he was a senator, so it's like he was a U.S. senator, so it's a little bit different in certain ways. Like when you have a U.S. congressman, a U.S. senator,
Yeah.
because they don't
Yeah.
even though they're representing their state, they're making like U.S. policy decisions, right? Because until you go down to state senators, state congressmen, state level positions, that's when you get more shit that's like actually, well, what have you done for this state? Because you're actually representing the state. Now you go up to the federal level representing the state. It's a little bit different. Yeah, you can have something that could help, benefit the state, but for the most part, you should still represent what your constituents want from your state on the federal and in the country level. That's the whole point of that. But all these fuckers, when they get up there, they just give a damn what they want.
Yeah, but it's just one of those situations of individuals getting elected for the wrong reasons, running for politics for the wrong fucking reasons, not because you want to do better for the people of the nation or for your state, your city, your
Which nation?
community. Well, damn it. Yeah. Well, yeah, he probably did a lot of good for the fucking nation he fucking bent the knee to, which is not America. But
He didn't bend the knee; he got on the knees.
yeah, for sure. Speaking of that, hold on. I just saw something the other day,
That
and
was a weird transition when I say get on the knees, and you're like, speaking of, fuck you talking about?
well, no, it's thinking about fucking, bending your knee to another country. Um, I saw something online, and it was guys talking about changing the language in America from English,
To what?
American,
I
because
I don't quite
because
mind that.
because, and they had a very good fucking point. They were comparing English to the English that we speak, and it's two different fucking languages. Like words that they use over there, like the word bloody or cunt or whatever else. Like there's a lot of
Same thing in
words.
Australia and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, and they were like, we got away from them, and then we essentially built our own language over the last 250 years, and inside of our English there's also, I think it was saying that there's like 16 additional English languages that are built off of the American English language, because it was talking about like the different slangs, and it was talking about like ebonics and
When you think
all
about
kinds.
New York, Boston, come down to Texas, you go to
Yeah,
Mississippi, they all have their own fucking sound to
yeah.
them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but it was saying like big like um like denominations of the English language, like not just like little bitty slang things. It was talking about like big things like the English Creole, and it was talking about like ebonics
Yeah, yeah.
and like there was like a handful of them, and but I was just like, God damn it, I never thought about that. And they were essentially saying like, Trump changed the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Like, how much of a G thing would it be to fucking change our recognized language from English to American?
Yeah.
Like, because that's what we speak.
Here's what I would say. Instead of American, it should be American.
That's only if you're in the South.
No, here's my caveat to that. Here's why I think it will get pushed upon. Not that I don't agree with it, because America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now when people say America, people think of us, USA, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then that also doesn't take into account that you have like North America, South America, Central America. Everybody, those can all technically be considered like Americans in some sense, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just the way it is, right? And no, I agree with it, but I just figure like it'd be funny, like because if you to really distinguish, it's like we're in America and we speak American. Get it?
Mhm. Well, here's one of the good points that they had that I had never thought about. Look, I've been to Canada and up around the north, you know, how many times over the last X amount of years. And I never put two and two together that Canadians speak a closer English to America than they do to the British,
How?
because they don't use all the additional language like the cunts and the bloodies and the biscuits and all the
Yeah,
fucking
because they're a
weird.
bunch of pussies.
Well, regardless, they speak a closer language to American English than they do to British English.
Well, I mean, again, you have to think about it. They're right over here. So over time, they just like we did, we transitioned from like the
Yeah.
Queen's English type stuff and then whatnot. So
But like they were saying, like, and that's more of a reason why that they should change the name of our language to American or America or whatever you fucking want to call
American.
it. Like, it's a good fucking point.
I mean, again, I guess it. I think it'd be pretty cool actually.
I could stand behind that. Like, then Trump would have something else that he could say that he did that was good. He needs to start doing something, like a couple good things to go on his roster of like, I did this good shit, because he's got too much bad shit already, like,
Well, and
on his list.
what really pisses me off is like all of these good things that he always talks about are stuff from
Hmm.
his first administration.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and
he's got to
that's
do
really
more.
pisses me off.
He's got to do more now. Like he fucking invaded Iran. Okay, no one wanted that. You can't say that's a good
Well,
thing.
he hasn't put boots on the ground in a sense like that quite yet.
Yeah, I know,
But there is a full scale war effort, even though they'll never admit it's not a war; it's just a military conflict. Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
and then there's Venezuela and fucking all the
Yeah. Again, while I disagree with like the act of Venezuela of like, hey, it's like I don't get it. We went to a sovereign country and did this shit, right? I was still glad it was just one night and out, no casualties and stuff like that, no long extended effort like, this shit's doing, right? That was my only thing that was like, okay, cool, we got in, we got out, we were done, you know. Um and now this, it does not, I mean, this looks like it's going to be the next 20-year war on terror, is what it is.
yeah,
And this is what pisses me off, because now everybody is just going to keep repeating the fucking, well, Trump has always talked about for years that Iran can never have a nuke. Well, they didn't have one to begin with. Two,
mhm,
you sit there and say like, well, why would they enrich past a certain percentage? I don't know, and I don't particularly give a shit. It's not my, they're their own country. But on top of that, people will sit here and go like, people will sit here and make it seem like, well, if they're enriching past 60%, then that means they're making one. It's like, okay, there's so much more that goes to creating a nuclear weapon just past high enrichment. Like there's so many
yeah,
more fucking things that go into that shit.
oh
And
yeah,
people just want to sit there and focus on how high the enrichment was. Which again, you can disagree with it all you want. You can not like it all you want. That doesn't give us a right to go over there and fucking essentially start a regime change war just because we don't
yeah.
like it.
Look, and I'm gonna say it like this. I think Trump's a pussy because, and I'm gonna say it like this for this reason. So we essentially escalate Iran, who is very inferior to us, obviously. Okay. And they're essentially pretty fucking weak. Okay. Well, what about Korea? They've got nukes. What about China? What about Russia?
That's why we don't do this, because they have those. So this is why
Because
we
they're
had to. This is why we pick on countries that don't have them.
I know, but to me, it's like it's a pussy thing. Like you want to go pick on a little guy. Like, look, they might not be great over there. I don't agree with everything in Iran, and I'm not an Iran sympathizer. What I'm a sympathizer to is not our fucking country, not our fucking problem. If you're going to start fucking, point fingers at people about fucking nuclear weapons and enriched uranium, um, there's a lot of bigger countries out there that are bigger threats that okay, you're okay with them having it, but not, you know, this other country that you can't even prove has it.
Yeah. On top of that, I mean, Trump came out and said that China, everybody's sick and tired of China interfering in our elections and our government and everything, right? And it's just like, I don't know if I necessarily think it's China that's doing this, because at a certain point in time, people who cannot wrap their fucking heads around that the Israel lobby has such strong fucking influence, and they
Yeah,
keep on saying, well, and this is what pisses me off even more, is they'll always go like, if you look up the stats and look up the foreign the fire registration lobby, Israel only donates like 200 something million, only invests like 200 something million. I was like, this is an illogical argument, because APAC, United Democracy Project, all these other fucking super PACs are not registered under FARA, so it's not an equivalent argument to make. Because then they'll say, look at Qatar. Qatar does all this shit. I'm not saying I fucking agree with Qatar. I'm not saying I want to be all this, all that for Qatar. What I'm saying is that it's not a fucking logical argument to make, and it's not an honest argument to make. You're gonna sit here and try to be you're gonna sit here and try to fucking make it seem like, oh, well, the fire numbers don't equivalate the influence you're talking about. Okay, yeah, that's by design, you dumbass.
Hey, I wanted to say thank y'all to our sponsor, Patriot Pouch USA. Hey, they gave me this really beautifully put together, well thought out ad read, but y'all know that's not me. I'm going to be me through and through, no matter what. I'm a lifelong Copenhagen user. I love that shit. I've done all the other stuff, the Zens, the Oinks, the whatever else you want to call them. Never really a fan. Y'all have heard my stories. Hell, I always thought they were gay. But if you want to put something little and white in your mouth that's not gay, grab you some Patriot pouches. They're phenomenal. Best flavor I've had of any of these pouches. Honestly, it's better flavor than the Copenhagen. I'm really loving that We the People wintergreen. Orange We American, really good, especially hell, drink some tequila with it. The Freedom Frost. We got that Liberty Mint. All of it's really good. They wanted me to say some stuff like it was non Vasco something Euler or something. Man, I can't even say the word. All you got to tell me is that it doesn't hype my blood pressure. It doesn't make your heart get the fucking fluttery goddamn shit. I'm loving the shit. They're made in America by Americans, created by Patriots for the Patriots. And I'm not talking about the football team because fuck those Patriots. Go give them a shot. They got these really cool 4-packs. You can try one of each of them. I would do it. Go give them a shot. These aren't gay. Drop in DP10 at checkout for 10% off your first order. Again, that's Patriot Pouch USA. Go check them out. Thank y'all. Back to the show. No, I agree. Look, I think we need to fucking start leaving other countries alone. We need to right our ships here. We need to make ship better here and not fucking worry about spending our goddamn tax dollars overseas. We need to quit giving foreign fucking aid to all these other goddamn countries that don't contribute to us. We need to start contributing to our people. Look, our debt is fucking ridiculous. Our economy's fucking tanking and it sucks. Our oil and gas market is fucked. Um, our poverty levels, our fucking interest rates, like fuck them other countries. Fuck them. Put your head down here. Drive forward here. Fix the infrastructure here before you step fucking foot anywhere else. Like, let our troops be defenders of America here on our fucking land. You know, whether you put them all around the fucking borders and whatever you got to do, I don't give a fuck. Worry about here. Quit letting motherfuckers come here and quit going other places and fucking trying to be Captain Sabaho. Honestly.
Yeah, no, there's. I still never fucking understand why all of these fucking MAGA talking heads that were all before this fucking administration, before he came in the second time. He's the president of peace, no new wars. He prevented war with Iran. He's gonna end. He had no new wars. He's the first president, God, whatever, however many years it was, that started no new wars. But then they're all like, well, Iran is this, or we have, we have to stop, we have to do this because of Iran. Blah, blah. I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. So I thought, he was president of peace, and what happened to no new wars? It's like Iran has been at war with us for 47 years. I was like, really? I don't remember ever getting deployed in support of anything going against Iran. I deployed 4 fucking times. So the fuck you talking about? Like it's like, no, fuck you.
You know, I wonder how many of these fucking presidents would see things differently if they actually had to go boots on the ground. If themselves had to go in country, whether it's sitting in a Humvee or a Bradley or a Stryker, a fighter
Nah,
jet,
it
Apache.
should be like the fucking medieval times where the king is out there on the fucking field with his men in battle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it should be. You
I
don't
agree.
fucking go to war if you're not going to put your fucking self on the front line.
Look, I can understand you can't be out there 24/7. But then again, I think wars would be a lot shorter then.
If it's a war of choice,
Mm-hmm.
like if it's a defensive action, obviously you're not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if it's a war of choice, which this one is, this was a choice, you should fucking be out there. You should be like either that or there should be conscripted children from everyone in the federal government.
Hmm.
No, you want this shit to happen, then put your own family on the fucking line.
You think Trump's going to try to do another draft?
I know there's been people like I'm Ed Galrain, the fucking guy who went against Massey. He's for bringing back the draft.
Well, our recruitment numbers are so fucking low.
Uh, yeah, but I don't know if we're necessarily to that point just yet. Now obviously, if this turns into like an extended conflict, where it looks like, I think we're probably looking at. I let me say it this way: if it gets to that point, I do think I'm not holding this in a very high manner, but I do think that would be like a last ditch effort. I don't think it'll be like a first thing they'll do, because I think that's one of those things that's like, amongst many other unpopular things, I think that's one of those things that they know would be pretty detrimental if they fucking force a draft on the population.
Yeah, well, so I think one of the first thing they would do is they would change the recruitment numbers or the age requirements and shit like that to let,
You got
guys
shit on your lip, dumbass.
mm, to let prior service guys, let us all join back up no matter how fat
I
or old
can't.
we are now.
I can't.
Yeah, I can't either. I got out on an MEB,
Yeah.
um but I don't know. There's always waivers. Always waivers.
I'm
But
gonna I'm gonna walk into like, yeah.
but
But
honestly, I think instead of doing a draft, I think what they should do is make mandatory service, 2 years of mandatory service straight out of high school.
um I want to say it's Thailand. They do like it's almost like a lottery system.
Mhm.
Like when men, I don't think it's 18. I think it's another like a later, like a couple of years later. But whatever it is like they go in and they put their hand in like a bucket or whatever, and wherever they draw out, it tells them if they're getting conscripted or not. Like it's by chance.
Mm.
I wouldn't mind something like that necessarily, to kind of like give yourself a chance to like not be in it, or whatever like that. Because now granted, I also don't mind the notion of like, hey, you serve 2, 3, whatever, years as soon as you get out of high school, whatever. Minus the notion of like anything, medical that would keep you out, because again,
Yeah.
we can't have anything like that too much. But I also know that there would probably be a lot of fucking people that we don't want in at that point in time as well.
Yeah, but if we ran out like old school military and you fucking wall to wall counseling, just like hardcore
That
high
will never
speed,
happen. As much as I want to, that'll never come back.
just like high speed, low drag, bullshit. And look, it would change a lot of individuals, personalities. It'll toughen some motherfuckers up, and then it'll also show some people responsibility, life skills, all that. I think it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, but
And
I
give
think,
people an option. Look, mandatory that they go in for 2 years. Okay, give them an option if they want a combat related MOS or some sort of auxiliary MOS. Okay, and here's the other thing: if they choose to enlist, then they get preference on duty station, MOS, plus sign on bonuses, shit like that, and they
well,
get to pick their fucking job.
I mean, I was just thinking about something real quick. I think the potential downfall of trying to do mandatory 2 year service for, everyone turning 18, that's a massive inflation in the defense budget.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
and veterans benefits at that, paying out afterwards.
Yeah, that's true.
Just because you just got to think about how many more people are going to come in that they got to pay, give benefits to, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
then people getting out, then they got to get health care too and stuff like that. So again, it's not like I don't think it's a horrible idea. I'm just thinking about potential bad second and third order effects after the fact.
Yeah.
the,
Yeah,
the
I guess.
reason why I think mandatory service works for smaller countries like fuckface over there is because it's a smaller country with not a lot of
Yeah.
people. You know what I mean?
What if you did and they had to join the state National Guard?
State National Guard would be different. Because that would be something to like again, like the actual state National Guard with the state benefits, not linked to federal. I think that could be something to look into because the states need their National Guard.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
I think the state National Guard would actually be a better idea. And then should they choose to want to try to enlist in the actual federal the military forces for the country, then whatever time they had in the state National Guard could transfer over there to go towards their
Time
retirement
served.
if they
Yeah.
were. Yeah, I think that would be a much better path forward as far as conscription, because then you're not necessarily um, putting a lot of stress on the federal budget. It'd be down to the states.
Yeah.
And again, the states need a state National Guard. Like that.
Yeah.
That's an important thing. Something to be there ready to deploy, response for disaster type things. Whatever. They need that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I think that's the way to do it.
look at us, two fucking retards, and we're solving shit.
Would you have that type of state National Guard train with the Army like current National Guard does, or an independent basic?
See, here's one thing that I've honestly thought about. I'm not saying that it's something that should be done. I think that when it comes to basic military training as a whole, and this could help with, I think, in somewheres help with budgetary things, rather than you have, I don't know, I can't remember how many places you guys have and how many places Marines have, but Air Force is all in one place, San Antonio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for just think about it this way, basic things. We're just talking basic things, nothing crazy, outlandish, specific, right? Basic things. If there was a centralized one place or a couple places, depending where they are, where all military people go for simple basic training, and depending what branch you go to later on, then you have almost like where it'd be AIT, where you learn branch specific stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a big part of our basic is learning all that branch
But no,
specific shit.
yeah, but what I'm saying is when it comes to just learning, basic things of how to march, military customs and courtesy, that's pretty universal. You know what I mean? Then learning about your benefits, whatever like that, because I don't know about you guys, whenever we'd have classes during the day, when we're not doing PT or doing other things, whatever, right? We go sit down and they would go over certain things, like you would have, the sexual assault, briefing, right? Keep your hands to yourself, you dumbasses, or whatever like that, right? You would, and shit like that. That's all pretty universal basic stuff that
I don't remember
anybody
us
can
doing
learn.
that.
Oh, shut up. You did it. You're just old. You're old and dumb. But I'm talking about those types of things. Now, when it gets to Army specific things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're learning about Army structure, Army breakdown, Army this, Army that, right? That would be and a lot of it could be more so that I believe. Just I'm thinking out loud here. Remember, guys, I'm not enlisted anymore, and I'm not saying that whatever everybody does is wrong. What I'm saying is everyone could learn basic things, and therefore everyone could be trained into a similar fashion of hey, this is how you should handle your weapon. Hey, this is how you should, do all these obstacles and stuff like that. You have the same type of PT standards everybody's going towards and shit like that, right? Then you go to wherever you go. I go to Air Force, you go to Army, uh, kid with autism goes to the Marines, right? Then they can start doing different type of stuff based on what they're going to do and based off of what their type of structure goes to, right? The
Yeah.
Marines will go eat a box of crayons in the desert. You guys will go march with 700 pounds on your back for no fucking reason, but you'll do it. And then I will go sit in an air conditioned hotel and then sleep my life away. So
What about Navy?
they'll go fuck each other on a boat.
What about Coast Guard?
I don't even know why they're considered the military. They don't go anywhere.
They'll fuck dolphins. Or manatees, because they just found a manatee here in on our coast.
I love you,
What about
Coasties.
Space Force?
Space Force is just Air Force reimagined. That's all it is. But that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because then, if you're going to do state National Guard, if you wanted to send them to the same generalized basic training for everyone, right? You're still because it is still going to be a military. It's going to be a state military, right? There should be no difference in the military as a whole. Granted, you'll have Army standard stuff, Air Force standard stuff, Marine standard stuff, blah, 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 all that shit, right? Now, every state National Guard, you could call it state Army National Guard or whatever, but it's just based whatever, right? But then when you go to say, hey, I actually want to transfer to the Marines, I want to transfer to the U.S. Army, the big boy shit, right? Then you don't have to go through another basic, right? You just transfer from state to federal. Then you might go to a 2, 3, 4, however little week course of Army specific training to switch it so you know what you're dealing with on the next big boy level, or Marines or whatever like that. Does that make sense? Just kind of like you would do AIT because you're kind of changing it up a little bit, not learning a job, but just kind of changing it up a little bit.
Would you raise everyone else's standards to the harder standards of Army and Marines?
I wouldn't be against that. I'm not saying that since we would generalize things that everything should go immediately to the hardest standard of the hard, or we should bring it down to the lowest standard of lower. I'm saying we could reevaluate things to bring it to still a very high manageable standard for people. Not to say well, let's think about these guys, whatever like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it could probably be reevaluated. So all right, whatever it be, run, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and all this other shit, right? Everybody's doing the same thing. It's not well, let's all do exactly what the Marines do because they're the hardest. Well, no, if we're gonna redo everything, then let's kind of reimagine things in a little bit, but not lower the standard by any means.
Okay, that was my next question: is would you lower the standard of?
No, absolutely not.
Which honestly, I think they need to start raising it back up. Do you think it's okay that women have a different standard at PT than men?
It's a little bit difficult. Not that I'm trying to make an excuse here. What I'm saying is that I'm not necessarily against a separate standard because, they have, biologically and everything like that, they're the harvested everything. They can't have the same type. They're not going to have the same type of muscle mass and strength and stuff like that. That's just biology. But what I am not for, and I think, Hexath actually got rid of, if I'm not mistaken, is when they were allowed to go into combat MOSs, they still had a separate standard. That's what I disagree with. Those standards should never change. Because you go into combat, that's one standard that should always be maintained. Does that make sense?
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
That was what I didn't agree with. Regular jobs like me, support guys, and didn't see combat. That I don't mind because you're staying in shape and you're being ready to deploy wherever. You're not going to combat. You're not doing anything that's gonna cause you to have to do stuff like that in that fashion. I didn't care. I didn't mind in that manner. Combat MOSs is where I disagreed with.
Well, What do you think?
But this is me thinking from the notion of like I have my degree in a lot of training in exercise science and stuff like that. That's why I think from that aspect.
So here's my thing. You have a man and a woman, man, woman. They both have the same fucking MOS right here. Okay. Why is it acceptable that this man has to have a higher standard than this woman, or this woman can have a lower standard than this man? Because if they're doing the same fucking job, then they need to have the same standard,
Again,
regardless.
again, this is why I told you, like, based off of what that MOS is and what its purpose is. That's what I'm saying, right? If you're
Yeah.
infantry, if you're a ranger, if you're a SEAL, if you're I mean, if you're anything that's going to put you outside the wire, fucking out there charging forward, fucking, you know, shooting the shit, right? What I'm saying is that right there that puts you out there on the front lines, trying to kill people and getting shot at. That's a standard that should always be one standard, period. No separate standard for regardless if you're man, woman, or make believe. Okay. What I'm saying is when it comes to jobs like mine, I mean, I was just a supply guy and going from just differences in biology and how they work with muscle mass, bone mass, density, and stuff like that, and how everything works from between male and female biology. That's why I particularly did not mind. I'm not a combat job. I don't see that type of action, but you still had to stay in shape. It wasn't like, oh, you just have to, do a little bit. No, it wasn't necessarily a crazy high standard, but it wasn't also necessarily a low standard. There's plenty of people in my career field that failed because they got fat and lazy.
Yeah.
But again, that's what I'm saying is like depending on what that job is and what you're doing is where I say that's where I'll give like a smidge of a okay, I don't really mind the differences because you're not going out there, where somebody might have to rely on you to drag them the fuck out.
No, I agree. But then again, I also feel like everyone, if you're going to join the military, every individual there, their primary MOS should always be infantry. Your secondary should be whatever your secondary field is. So everyone should be able
Don't they
to,
teach that you're a rifleman first or whatever like that kind of thing? Or is that the Marines?
they do, but they don't. So they don't really uphold that standard. Like they kind of say that, but training at Fort Benning is going to be training different for, at Fort Seal or, wherever else. Like they can say it, but they don't uphold it, or at least they didn't back whenever I was in. They looked at pogues as they train pogues different than that's why that, the pogues don't go through, basic at Benning through infantrymen, basic. So
Yeah, because
I,
aren't y'all's depending on where you go is based off of your MOS, right? What you're gonna
Yeah,
go to. Yeah.
somewhat, yeah, somewhat. Like all infantry goes from one place, and then other MOSs they may have it meshed up together, but I really look at it as if you're going to join the military, then everyone's core standard needs to be an infantry standard, and their first fucking primary focus is infantry or being a killer. Your secondary MOS should be, whether you're in finance or admin, supply, motor pool, whatever the fuck it is. I don't give a shit. But your primary focus needs to be, infantry, and you need to uphold that standard. People they need to get them shooting more often. Like I've talked to a lot of guys that, had other MOSs, and you talk to them about like when they were in, and it's like, how much did y'all shoot? How much did y'all do? This, that, the other. Oh man, we never did that. Like all we did was fucking, we worked on, Humvees and fucking, or we worked on paperwork or and that's a shame because there are times whenever guys are deployed that, you may be sitting on a fob the whole time, but you're going to have to go to another fob. So you've got to go, on a convoy. Well, if you don't know how to use that rifle, there's a fucking problem with that. You know what I mean? If you don't know how
No,
to,
I agree. I agree to that. It's just
you know,
it, I mean, if that's the way things turn to, then that's different. I'm just saying when it comes to me in the Air Force, I mean that's just kind of the way it is. And that's why I held that to that point. Now you can make the argument when it comes to the Marines. They're all kind of trained to shoot first, ask questions later. Um, then with y'all, I mean, again, it just really depends. Um, but like I said, that's why I hold that personal like separation of like depending on what your actual responsibilities are for your job and what the role is, I can give like a little bit of nuance to it just based off of biology.
yeah, no, I understand that. I just think that if they did the military like it should be, and everyone's first MOS is infantry, so as being a killer because you're a soldier or a sailor or a airman or a marine, whatever. I Because your first role is to be a fucking killer. You know, your secondary is whatever your MOS is, and that would make it where you can't hold other people different standards. You can't hold a woman to a lower standard to a men in any category because that woman, let's say that woman is on a convoy going from one fob to the next, they get blown up by an IED. Okay. They've got to pull a motherfucker, to cover, or they've got to break cover or something like that. If they don't have the physical standards to do so, like how is that woman going to pull that, 196-pound man, behind that opal? You know what I mean? From, no cover to behind that opal or into that building. You know what I mean?
No,
They
I understand.
they
I
all
understand what
need
you're
to
saying.
I think everyone needs the same exact level of abilities. You know what I mean? As the minimal, as whatever the minimal. So they need to figure out what it takes to do these certain aspects, whether it's building your physical strength or your dexterity or cardio or whatever it is, whatever it takes. And then they should hold everyone to that standard. And then you push everyone further than that. You know what I mean? Internally as a unit, whenever you're doing PT, it's how far can we push these motherfuckers? And they need to hold higher standards for if you're a fat body and you fail this fucking PT test, you know, something needs to get done about that shit instead of just saying, oh, well, no, don't eat that fucking donut. Or, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, then we're not going to
A
be able to use
jelly
you
donut.
there. Yeah, fucking bitches. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What do you remember about basic training?
Not infiltration course.
Sounds like a
Not
story.
oh shit! I don't know if I can tell the story. Not infiltration course. That's just where you're essentially crawling where they're shooting the tracer rounds over the top of you. It was fun. I fucking loved it because there was fucking people that were so fucking scared like a motherfucker. Um, I don't know. Funny stories from basic. Um, damn,
I know it was 100 years ago.
my kids fucking listen to the show. I've got one that's fucking funny as shit, but I don't give a fuck. So everyone was betting on who could blow their load the furthest. I swear to God, that happened. They were like everyone was fucking betting on who could fucking jack off and blow their load the furthest. And there was another one is who could blow their load the fastest. Like there were side bets going on this. I swear to fucking God. Yeah.
I changed my mind. The Navy's not the gayest. It's you guys.
Oh, yeah. Um, Man, I don't remember. Like, we had like lots of fights, like late night or whatever, we were fighting in there and shit like that. And then, you get up in the morning and your drill sergeants find out about the fights. And then they smoke the fucking dog shit out of you. There may or may not have been some blanket or some blanket parties, go on in there. So some of that shit is real. That really does happen a little bit back then. I don't think that they could get away with it now. Um, yeah, I don't remember. Oh,
Everyone to fucking tell on each other.
yeah. So, okay, this did happen. And this was like a rite of passage kind of thing. So near the end of basic, um, I don't remember what had happened, but I think we all got back from like a pretty big ruck march or some shit like that. And we were able to order like protein bars and pizzas and all that stuff, and it was essentially like eat as much as you want, like this is your break, whatever, blah 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 blah. Man, because we had eaten nothing but MREs and bullshit the entire time. Like, fucking, I remember we fucking were scarfing down, like everyone's ordering like 3 4 fucking pizzas, eating whatever they can, drinking soda, all these protein bars, all this shit. So about the time they get done, we get done, and they're like, on your feet, we're gonna go do some fucking PT. Everyone fucking puked, man. It was rough. It was so fucking rough. But yeah, that's one I do remember, and I think they did that to pretty much every, like at that time period, every cycle that went through Benning had that kind of rite of passage of, and it told you, everything in moderation except for alcohol. Alcohol you can do it as heavy as you want, and it's cool. Did y'all do anything like that? Have any of those?
I mean, we didn't have any jack off parties because we weren't gay. Um, so one of the things I remember was people like it would be later at night. And this was like a couple weeks in, so like the instructor he wasn't, or we actually had a female instructor. Um, she wouldn't be like there all the time, because they would get to the point where they wouldn't always be there. They would just like make surprise show ups after the day was technically done, right? So we were already in the dormitory, and we people were going in and showering for the night, about getting ready for lights out, right? And I'm already on my bunk, and a bunch of people on the bunk. We're all just kind of fucking bullshitting, right? And you have two bays, right, separated by the instructor's office. So bay over here, and then here's a hallway, and then uh, the bay on the opposite side of me, across from that one, is where the bathroom and the showers were, right?
Hmm.
Well, all I hear from over in my bay while I'm sitting on my bunk, the door fucking flies open, and you hear a bunch of people start saying, "What the fuck?" And then coming around, because on the backside of the bay, like there's a cut through, so you could walk around to the bay on both sides, right?
Hmm.
Um, see two fucking guys. They were in the shower, and what they did is they had lathered themselves up with soap to the point where it was all white, but from
Hmm.
head to toe. And they came out butt ass naked, and it just fucking ran a full loop around the fucking bay, and then went back into the shower. And we're just like, the fuck just happened?
Well, we had stupid shit like that. Like,
um, Yeah, but then there was another particular moment that always stood out, or this, it's like right here, and it is because it was one of those times of like, did I really just witness this firsthand? Because it was an instructor, um, it was a moment with an instructor, like, who started to who was started to smoke a kid, right? So you know how the Marines have, was it the Crucible, that 3 days, whatever like that, right?
hmm,
I don't know if you guys have something similar. Well,
no.
we have something similar. It's a week in a simulated deployed environment. We set up a tent, we set up tents and everything in our little fob or whatever like that, right?
Uh-huh.
So it was the last day. We're all packed up, and we're waiting to get told to start rucking to where the bus is going to pick us up, right? So we're just hanging out, and the cadres that run the area for the con, because it wasn't our instructors. You get down there and it's a bunch of cadres that are in charge of doing everything, right? We're just hanging out, and one of the cadres, he's super cool. He's shooting the shit with us. Obviously when we were doing everything, he's like pretty much being a TI an instructor. Hammering the shit out of us. But he was shooting the shit and he was answering questions. Whatever, right? Well, when we were there, it wasn't like just us. It was us, and it was a bunch of other flights from other training squadrons across the base. So it was like we're all intermingling and like working together, right?
Yeah.
Well, while we were sitting there, while we're standing there and talking to the cadre and whatever like that, there was another guy from a different flight, from a different squadron. Had nothing to do with my flight whatsoever, right? He's sitting on the ground and like kind of leaned up against like a log, like a tree log that was sitting that was laying on the ground, and he's just eyes closed, kind of zoned out, pretty much asleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cadre looks over. He was like, "Hey," he wasn't trying to be a dick or anything like that, right? He was just telling him like, "Wake the fuck up, dude! You can't just sit there and sleep," right? Um, and so a couple of the other guys from his fight that he knew starts yelling his name. His name is Buter. Last name is Buter. And he starts to kind of wake up a little bit, and the cadre says like, "What were you dreaming about, sweetheart?" Just just being funny. Again, not being a dick, just being funny. The guy, not being aware of his surroundings, not understanding who's talking to him, waking up from a nap, kind of, and just completely oblivious, says, "Your mom."
Oh. Oh.
And he looks up, and we're all just sitting there like, "What the fuck?" And then the cadre is like, "Fuck you say?" And the kid looks up, and he's like, "Ah," and just like this. And the cadre is like, "Did you just shit your mouth, boy?" And he was like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." He's like, "Why don't you come here?" So him and the cadre walk off a little bit, and he's just sitting there. You can tell him he's going in on him, but we can't hear him. He's trying to keep it low, right? And then they walk back, and all you hear the cadre saying is like, "All I'm saying is you better be real fucking lucky I'm in uniform right now." And then cadre goes and grabs a fucking little like golf cart with a flatbed on it, everything like that. And he's like, he's like, "Hey, Buter, grab your fucking ruck." And he starts driving. He's like, "Buter, Buter." And he started making a fucking run, trying to put his ruck on up to the fucking cart and everything. We're just watching. We're like, "Oh shit, that just fucking happened, bro."
No shit. So I don't
It
remember
was
this.
so funny.
So I don't remember if this was basic or a different training. It was when we were taught how to make essentially CS bombs out of the MREs. And so you take your
Oh yeah,
heat
with
pouch
the heat pad. Yeah.
and you dump all your Tabasco in it, you fold it up, it starts smoking like a tear gas. Man, when we were taught that, we were fucking each other up left and right, like bad. Even so, when we were in Alaska, especially in the like whenever it was like ALIT, 2 and 3 and shit like that, we were making them and in the winter. So in certain training, you can be in your little fucking 3-piece fucking sleeping bag setup. And man, we'd fucking roll that bitch up and throw it in someone's sleeping bag. Oh god, it would fuck them up. But yeah, that was fun. I miss that.
Yeah,
I do.
it's a lot of fun times. But
It's been so long. I don't even remember a lot of the shit that we did back then. It's
nah,
amazing how it's
it
amazing
really is
how easy it is to
a long
forget
time ago.
shit.
Trying to think of everything.
Because I've been out for over 18 years, I think. Yeah.
What year did you get out?
Um 10.
That makes sense because I went in 09, so
Yeah.
and you were still in when I was in basic training.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know you were going through the med board at the time. So
Yeah. Yeah. I was going through my MEB in end of 09, I believe.
yeah,
Possibly. Yeah, I think so. So, God damn, that's been so fucking long ago. That has been so long ago. Yeah, because I think, and I forget how long they had. I was on terminal leave for so fucking long, which is nice because you get that free fucking paycheck. Until then
yeah,
they just say, fuck it.
they don't do that. They don't do that shit anymore. Mhm.
No?
Well, they don't. They severely try to limit, make sure like limit the time now, because people would save up a lot, and
Yeah.
you know whatever. Because so with so specifically with retirees, right now,
Hmm.
when I got out, I didn't have all this other special privileges. You know, the retirees do. Really, they get extra special privileges and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Which rightfully so. They spend 20 plus years. They should get a few extra kicks, right? But when I got out, I, you know how many days of terminal I had?
How many?
Nine. That because again, I was never someone to save leave, and everyone who said like, oh, I got like 60 days, 70 days in the bank, I'm like, I don't love being here that much to not take time off. Fuck you. Like, but the thing is though, is that with retirees, like on top of whatever they save, you know, just from regular
Mhm.
leave that they can take, they get an additional 30 days approved by the commander to add on top of it,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like a gift from the commander, right? And then also now with the new skill bridge program, you know, that transition internship program,
Yeah.
what they used to do when it first started, you could get up to 6 months of
Yeah.
the transition time. They don't do that anymore because again, you're looking at like 6+ months of losing this person from their
Yeah.
job, and they weren't having that. So they shortened it down significantly, which I think is kind of bullshit. How much they shorten it. I'm not gonna sit here and argue that like 6 months might have been a little bit excessive, but I want to say they shortened it down to like less than 3 months, like down to close to 2 months ish. Like it's almost nothing now, which is ridiculous.
So I know, me having to go through WT sorority transition unit, which was what they put us in when we got far enough into our MEB process. Um, but and I know on the MEB I got extra or something about the leave days. I don't remember, but I never took one day of leave the entire time I was in the army. So I had all that whenever I got out.
Well, and I think this again, I don't know if this was just Air Force or if this was military wide kind of a thing, because people used to again bank days for fucking a long time, right? And
Yeah,
you get to that point of use or lose, right? Every year
yeah.
that you would have to use up. But the use or lose, I want to say when I first came in, again, I could be wrong. It's been too fucking long. I want to say use or lose was like you could have up to about like 3 or 4 months of leave saved up. They took it down to where
Mhm.
you could not have more than 60 days at a in the bank.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I remember getting threatened with use or lose, but there's a stipulation on that of there are times when you can't use your leave days, so you technically you don't lose them because there are commander like waivers of these soldiers
And
couldn't.
and whenever like it's like a stipulation of like I think if you're like deployed or something like that, like it doesn't kind of get it. I remember
Yeah,
something being like that, yeah. But
yeah.
no, they they definitely started to be like, no, fuck this, because they didn't want to have people after a certain period of time having that much saved up, because then like one, people would save it up until like the point of getting out for terminal, and they
Yeah.
don't want it, even though it's their right, they don't want to lose people for that long because they want to work
Yeah,
you up
yeah.
until the fucking last second, right?
Oh,
But
yeah,
then on
yeah.
top of that, um, at a certain point, it's like, yeah, the commander has the right to deny your leave. And I think that's where a lot of people got confused, because supervisors and stuff like that be like, no, you can't take leave. Screw you. Only the commander can deny leave. That's in the fucking regulations.
Yeah.
Um, but people don't read their regulations, which is even dumber. Like, you need to understand what the shit is. But
Mhm,
but people will be like, I'm gonna take 3 months off, and they have it.
mhm.
And sometimes it's kind of hard to deny without a valid reason. So
Yeah, yeah. But, you do have to so whenever you take leave in the Army, you're depending on where you are in you know, your position with your platoon, squad, team, whatever. So you have to get a team leader to sign off on it. Then you have to get your squad leader to sign off on it. Then you have to get your PL and PS to sign off. So both your 6 and 7 to sign off of it. Then you have to get your CO and your sergeant major to sign off on it. Like, you had to have all these fucking signatures on it just to go on fucking leave. And fucking so they would essentially give out I remember at some point in time for like holiday leaves or certain specific leaves, they'd fucking have these already pre-signed fucking everything ones. Then they were like, okay, who's taking what, and you mark it down. But yeah, yeah, fucking. And then but then again, no one would ever end up taking leave. We end up always working, so no leave taken.
yeah,
No, I did
yeah.
take 30 I took 30-day trip traveling Alaska and stopped at every fucking town in Alaska, slept in teepees in places, went fishing everywhere. That was fucking cool. That was one of the coolest fucking vacations I've ever done. But and that was whenever I was in the Army.
The only time I ever saved leave was when I was in England, and we would save it, up to about 30-ish days, just because like every year we would try to plan a trip to come home for about,
Mhm. Yeah.
3 to 4 weeks at a time, because
Yeah.
you're flying back to the States, it's a pain in the dick to only do it for like a week at a time.
Yeah.
You got the fucking acclimation, especially with kids, and then you're flying right the
Mhm.
fuck back. So every time we do that, we would fucking, try to make it at least 3 to 4 weeks. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then while you're over there, um, at least, for us over there in the European command, um, one thing I did like about like European command over there was that everyone, for because I mean it's easier to travel over there if you want to,
Mm.
hop on a short flight to Germany or France or
Yeah.
Italy, whatever like that, right? And it's fairly cheap. Like, it's one thing I really wish it was like over here, from state to state.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But but every weekend you could fill out um a leave form for a pass, right? To go
Yeah.
to the mainland. So if something happens, they had it on file to submit it for leave just in case, right?
Yeah.
And then if we had a 3-day weekend, like for a federal holiday on the Monday,
Mhm.
99% of the time, European Command would give us that Friday off to as a family day to give us a 4-day weekend. So at the end,
Yeah.
everybody would have 4-day passes. So that's what I liked about being over there,
That would be cool. Yeah.
because because they understood that, like, hey, we're over here, we're away from our family and our homes, and everything in the states. So they try to help, kind of cope with that by giving us, the ability to try to get out there and go explore, Europe and everything like that. Which again, I was very grateful for. That was cool. Except for half of my motherfucking time over there was goddamn COVID.
See, I'd want to be single on that fucking deployment or that duty station. That's
Well,
the
I
type of
mean,
I'd want to be
in,
fucking single the entire time.
if you're going to be stationed over there, you'd want to be in Germany. But fucking England, no. And everybody's like, well, everybody speaks English there. Dude, fucking England is. Granted, yeah, there's some cool spots. Like I like to go into Scotland. Scotland was fucking awesome. I've been to a few cool places over there. Don't get me wrong, but England as a whole, if I ever go back, it'll be too soon. Like I don't want to go back. But I wish I would have got stationed in Germany because the basins in Germany are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And Germany as a whole is fucking awesome. It's like so amazing there, so beautiful, and you just have a direct line to wherever you want to fucking go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it. Spain was fucking awesome. Well, I didn't go to Spain. We went to the Canary Islands, which is right off the coast of Spain. Right?
Yeah.
Went to Malta in the Mediterranean, a small island. Fucking awesome. Has so much historical relevance that I had no idea of until I got there. Malta was fucking amazing. Went to Rome. Rome, fucking awesome. Went to the Vatican while I was there too, just to say I went. But Rome was fucking awesome. We were there for a couple days. I want to say it was like 3 days. Was not enough. Rome was amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely like on my top tippy top list, like to go back just because Rome was so fucking awesome. Went to France. I'll never go back because fuck France. But the only reason why we went was because, so I don't know, I'm sure you guys do, but I mean, who knows? So on the base, we have an office that helps book trips through the base, at a discounted rate. So yeah, so we had the same thing, right? And they had a special thing where you book through the office. They had a transport, like a bus, big, tour bus shuttle booked, and hotel and full day pass to Disneyland Paris.
So, that'd be badass.
And again, it was cool, honestly. And it was during Halloween time, so all of Disneyland Paris was Halloween themed, right? And we had a few other families that we were friends with. All of us bought tickets and put together. So we all had kids and everything together. Went out there. Now, don't get me wrong, it was awesome to go there to say, hey, I've been to Disneyland Paris. But Paris as a whole, fuck that place. Now, here's why I say that. So we get there on the first day, and the the person who's running the trip drops us off in the middle of this fucking place. I don't know exactly where. He was like, all right, you guys have however many hours, be back here at this time. Okay, cool. So we're all walking around trying to see things. We get close enough to the Eiffel Tower just to be like, oh, look, Eiffel Tower, whatever. And so it's getting close to that time to go back. So pull up Google Maps on the phone and start walking back to the location. It takes us to this, because there's like a big canal separating from one side of where we were to the other side where we need to be.
Yeah.
A bunch of bridges. Takes us to the bridge. It's going to make us the direct crossover to exactly, I can see where we need to fucking be. But this particular bridge was being overrun by fucking environmental protesters. You had all of these goddamn German police in riot gear, and we were seeing people getting tackled left and fucking right, and we're just like, fuck. And the nearest bridge to crossing was like over a half a mile away. So we had to walk all the way down there, cross the bridge, and then walk back. We're on the phone with the guy. I was like, hey, we're trying to get over there right now, but the bridge we need to fucking cross is blocked by protesters and riot police. So it was such a pain in the ass.
Hell, if I were them, I'd be like, hey, we want to watch. Is anything good happening? People getting fucked up? I'm going to come see. Yeah.
No, those police were not having it. They wouldn't talk to anybody, period. They were like, I feel like even if I would have tried to explain, they would just throw my ass to the ground. They were not fucking having it with anybody.
Yeah, it would have been cool to get stationed over there.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool. I would have loved to be stationed in Japan.
Yeah, honestly, I would have liked that too.
But I've got a lot of
Japan
buddies.
Japan's a hidden gem.
Yeah. Well, I got a lot of buddies that got stationed in Japan that fucking hated it. Um,
Well, there's a lot of different spot how you get stationed in Japan,
yeah,
right? And so it really depends on where you would be,
yeah,
because I had a friend of mine. She was a Marine and she was stationed in Japan. But so you have mainland Japan, and then where the
mhm,
Marines are, is an island not on mainland Japan,
yeah,
and it sucks there. Whereas the Air Force bases are on mainland Japan, and everybody fucking loves it.
yeah, yeah. But I got buddies that were Air Force over there and shit like that. That they were like, yeah, it was fucking gay. Like, especially for the married guys. Like all the married guys really bitch about it. But because a
Well,
lot of the
then on
single
top of
guys,
that, like I mean, I don't know. I've heard you always hear mixed reviews, right?
yeah,
A lot of people will be like, "Fuck yes, Japan's awesome," and you hear other people like, "I fucking hate Japan," whatever. But whatever. I would love to go to Japan. So
yeah, one of the biggest complaints that I've heard from a lot of guys, um, is the language barrier. They get over there and,
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
can't that is one of the biggest, biggest, complaints is the amount of language barrier beyond any other place in the world getting stationed and all that. Like, guys bitch about you know, they just they can't speak, to the people, and then the food over there, it's like the Japanese food there isn't like Japanese food that they make here, and there's all kinds of other shit that you end up eating, but some of the best fucking crab, like if you like seafood, if you like crab, they've got like a handful of different crabs that you can only get there. Like they've got these little bitty mini rice crabs that they fry the whole fucking crab and you just eat the whole thing, shell and all. And then, but there's a lot of other ones that they make these like weird dishes with. And like they've got one crab that they can only get there in like a month out of the year. And it's like this, it's called like a flower crab or something. And it's like super spiky all over it, but they say that's like the best crab you can fucking eat. So, and it doesn't even taste like blue crab or Alaskan king crab or anything like that. It's got a completely different, like real savory flavor rather than that sweet flavor that crab has. But well, Cecilia wants to go to Japan. Like Cecilia's like, for my graduation present, can we go to Japan? And I'm good with it. Like if she wants to go to Japan, we can go to Japan.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Maddie wants me to take her to Vegas when she turns 21. Um, but I think the good part about like Europe when you're stationed there is, yeah, okay, you got England. Everybody for the most part speaks English there, right? But even when you go to mainland, whether you're in Germany, Spain, France, most of them speak English. Yeah, they
Hmm.
have their native tongue and everything, but most of them do speak English. So
Yeah.
it wasn't even that terrible to try to interact with the local people, you know. Um, because like when I was in Germany, for I was passing through because I was deploying. Which one was that? When I was going to Kuwait. Um, we were staying in transient barracks and was calling for a taxi to go somewhere. And they answered in German, obviously. And I was like, "Do you speak English?" They're like, "Oh yeah, what's up?" It's like, so it's like, it was actually pretty cool. For the most part, no
Mhm.
matter where you were in mainland, they actually did speak English. Um,
Yeah.
but on my first deployment to Kyrgyzstan, um, it's the weirdest, um, it's the weirdest cultural shock that I ever saw. And it's not because of like, oh my God, look at these people, whatever like that. I didn't give a shit about that. It was funny because the local people, you're looking at a bunch of Asians, like people that look like traditional Asians, like
Hmm.
Chinese, Koreans, Vietnamese, Japanese, whatever. Like they look like traditional Asians, and they all speak Russian. It was the weirdest fucking thing ever.
Yeah, that shit will throw you off.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
just looking at it, it's like, this makes no sense. I don't like it. Some great food though, I'll tell you that, because on that deployment, I was able to, we were allowed to go off base, like, um, to like go see the town and go eat and go shopping, wherever like that. There's some great food locally. I'll tell you that.
The food that I still can't eat to this day is Indian food. Can't eat Indian food.
You know, like a
It's
little curry and some naan and bread and everything.
it's not that. There's a couple different things about it. Um, when you're with these guys and they don't take a shower for fucking 3 months straight, and they have like chow tents set up. So instead of eating MREs with these guys, you go through their fucking chow line in these tents, and they don't use cutlery. They're using their hands, and they're grabbing straight off, and they'll grab and they'll taste something, and if they don't like it, they put it back. And it's like a mixture of that and the smells, and it's like, to this day, it's like I can't be around Asian, or not Asian, Indian food. I can't eat it. It grosses me out. It makes me want to gag every fucking time. I'm just like, oh. But which I will say that the cultural difference between us and the Indians was so fucking wild, bro. Like, so different. And here's one of the weird military traditions that the Indians had that was different from us. So their officers could smoke or dip, right? Their enlisted guys can smoke, but they're not allowed to dip. So we would all have, and you know how we are, we've got fucking 50 cans of Copenhagen with us in our bags and in our assault packs and shit like that, or hidden in the strikers. Well, these fucking assholes, when we would barter back and forth with their Indian cigarettes. But they'd come over and they'd be like, come. And it's like, you hand it to them and they're like tweakers. Like, they grab that fucking can of Copenhagen, they pop it open. They're like, and they grab, and it's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, they're seriously like tweakers whenever it comes to Copenhagen. And that was one of the weirdest things that I've ever fucking seen when dealing with them Indians. It was just like, God damn, bro. But their cigarettes are strong. Their cigarettes are super strong. I think you heard, I don't want to, I'm not going to tell that story, but you heard that story, right? About the Indian cigarettes?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah, I think you have. If not, I'll tell you offline. But yeah, yeah, they don't have normal cigarettes. A lot of them. So, anyways, how do we get on this fucking topic? Okay, let's get back on fucking. Where were we? What were we talking about? Fucking politics.
Lindsey Graham started. We started with Lindsey Graham, but before that, we were talking about Fauci
Oh yeah. Fuck Fauci.
because of his testimony today, and he pleaded the fifth like over 120 times, and Rand Paul during the proceeding was saying that due to his immunity deal, he does not have the right to plead the fifth, because he cannot be incriminated.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
now they're gonna see what they can do in regards to holding him in contempt.
so okay, yeah, we were talking about that earlier. So yes, they may hold him in contempt. He will appeal it. No, because just because he'll be so he's pleading the fifth and he's got immunity, right? He's got immunity from judicial prosecution. Okay. But like I was saying, on civil prosecution, he doesn't want to incriminate himself to anything that can come as some sort of financial lawsuit or a class action lawsuit against him either directly or his estate or whatever. So he's not going to want to speak on any of that. And he knows that because he has zero immunity for that. So even if they hold him in contempt for pleading the fifth, he's going to appeal it.
Because I was bringing up if the government grants adequate immunity, which technically they did because Biden gave him the pardon or whatever.
Yeah.
A witness can be compelled to testify under federal law 18 USC 6002 and with precedent Castigar versus United States 406 and US 441 in 1972. Use and derivatives use immunity is constitutionally sufficient. The government cannot use the compelled testimony, which he would have or he was supposed to be giving today, or evidence derived from it against the witness in a criminal case, except for perjury or false statement, meaning that if he was to lie in
Yeah.
the statement he was giving, then that would be where it would not be covered. And so, giving into this
But the
point,
thing about it is his testimony can be used and it's admissible because it is um in the form of the testimony, it can be used as evidence against a civil prosecution. So if someone were to come out and sue him and they say, well, when they're doing discovery or showing the evidence, then they show evidence of that transcript. That is him admitting. So he would automatically lose whatever civil case, like private case against him. So he would lose a lawsuit if he were to testify on it. It's like, let's say I was pardoned or had immunity and got into a car accident, okay, and I killed someone. Then they may bring me in for questioning on it, and I may have immunity. And so no matter what I say, I can't get prosecuted for drunk driving or whatever. But if I did testify and the family of the individual that I had killed in that car accident got a printout of that transcript or the audio or video copy of that transcript, they could actually utilize that as part evidence against me in a lawsuit. You know what I mean? So that's why I guarantee that's why he doesn't want. It's either that or that's the reason he'll give most likely, but it's either that or there's other people that he wants to protect that don't have the pardon.
we'll finish up on this because we're getting close to time. So I put, can this testimony be used by someone in a civil lawsuit, even with immunity? Basically talking about what you're saying, like, even though, yes, he has the immunity, blah, 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 to protect against criminal investigation from the government, which is basically what the immunity was for.
Mm-hmm.
So it said, yes, even if Congress had granted Fauci formal use and derivative use immunity, and he had then given substantial testimony, meaning today, that immunized testimony could generally still be used against him or others in a civil lawsuit. So that's what your stipulation is like, even though he is protected from criminal prosecution by the government, given his immunity deal, which Rand Paul stated in the hearing of he quote unquote didn't have the right to refuse to or he didn't have the right to plead the fifth. He was still pleading the fifth because he doesn't want a civil prosecution.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. So
yeah, it does not extend to civil lawsuits, administrative or disciplinary proceedings, tax proceedings, other non-criminal consequences, loss of employment, blah, 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 blah. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is why he would plead the fifth. And that is why that even if they hold him in contempt, his counsel will ultimately appeal it under this precedent. So that would be why. Which he's playing it smart. Like I'll give him that. His counsel's playing the right cards. They're doing the right things. Okay, they hold him in contempt. Okay, they're gonna if they hold him into contempt and they arrest him for it, he's gonna bond right out, and then they're gonna fucking file an appeal, and they're gonna fucking file to dismiss charges because of that information, because he still has his Fifth Amendment right of self-incrimination, and it's beyond just prosecution. Like if you have a lawsuit against you and you're sitting on the stand and the opposing counsel is questioning you, you can plead the fifth, even if it's in that civil courtroom. So that's what I was explaining to you earlier.
Fauci's still a bitch.
Yeah, but I think most likely he's afraid he's going to get sued. Other than that, he could be protecting other individuals that don't have a part in.
That fucker needs to burn on the stake and just fucking be buried 17 feet deep and then
Yeah,
buried and put cement on. Fuck that dude. I just can't stand him.
like
That dude is pure fucking evil.
I would rather him not have immunity. I think that should be something that should be contested.
Well,
You know
I
what I mean?
mean, I I thought we were gonna get that thrown out with the whole auto pin bullshit, but I don't know whatever. I mean, I never followed up on it, but like I don't know whatever happened with that whole thing of like any of the auto pin fucking pardons.
I don't
Cause
know.
I don't know if the Supreme Court ever ruled on it. I don't know. I never really followed up on that whole thing, but it's just like, it's just ridiculous. Like every single thing that was like brought up and talked about, and like, well, this we're gonna whole, it's gonna be accountability. People are all this shit like that. And it's just like nobody cares anymore.
Yeah. No, I agree. Um, it's shitty. Like there's so much that our government's doing that it's just fucking shitty. And how is it that they prosecute the constituents for little bullshit, whether it's taxes or little nonviolent offenders, on crime and shit, but they let motherfuckers like this and like all the motherfuckers that are in the Epstein files and all that bullshit, they walk free every fucking day. And, some of these assholes fucking vote on shit that affects our day to day life, but they turn around and they fucking lock up everyday citizens like for dumb shit. Like, for fuck's sakes, if you make a mistake on an tax form, you can get fucking locked up for it, or you can get all your fucking property seized or frozen. Well, fuck. It's bullshit. Complete bullshit.
It's just the priorities of the government have always been backwards, and it's just they like they focus too much on holding non consequential things on everyday working class Americans, and they give no fucks about how their own departments, their own agencies, and their own
Mhm.
fucking house is ruining everything that this country was built on, and they're fucking destroying. They're destroying our future, our kids' future. They're destroying everything, and they don't give a shit because in the end, they're just blaming it on us, saying
Yeah.
like, "Well, you guys are not doing it." Like, dude, fuck you. Like, how about you just take some self accountability for once in your goddamn lives instead of trying to
Yeah.
fucking blame the previous administration or blame the fucking left or blame the right or blame Iran for I don't give a shit anymore. Like just stop fucking blaming everybody else. It's just get in there and be like, look, this government body has been fucked for years and we're
Yep.
not going to play the blame game anymore. We're here now. That means it's our responsibility. And that means that we have to fix it. There's no more the
Mhm.
previous administration. There's no more the left. There's no more the right. There is no more them. It's just us and we're going to fix it. But that'll
Yeah.
never happen. That'll never happen.
Oh, yeah. You know, I would like to see the pine cone in the Oval Office. I would. I think he would make a good president.
I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation he's going to put his hat in the ring for 2028. So we'll see.
Hell, I'd like to see Rand Paul in there. I like Rand Paul.
No, I'm done with him
Why? He's better
because
than the he's better than so much of the other bullshit.
maybe better, but that doesn't make him any good for the job.
Yeah, I guess that goes back to like the Trump and Kamala better of two evils conversation.
No, because immediately after that fake ass fucking White House Correspondents' Dinner thing, he's all of a
Yeah.
sudden for the taxpayer funded ballroom that was supposed to be privately funded. He was at the
Yeah.
forefront of pushing the legislation through.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Mister like the libertarian of the Senate.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to wash away all these goddamn politicians and just start from scratch.
Like I'll 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 give credit to Rand Paul for what he's done some good stuff, sure. But no, like now he's like marching a little too close to the beat of the drum of the the people that are not doing that are ruining this fucking country right now.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. He's just less of a turd than all these other fucking turds.
I'll say one thing. If he was to be in the administration again, like say like not as a senator, I would like to see him as in RFK spot, Secretary of Health and Human Services, because he's a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Especially like whenever you hear him talk on um what he thinks should be in all the welfare, reform and SNAP benefits and all that stuff. Like cut out all the bullshit, no more just like, that little bill that I wrote, about reforming the welfare and all that. It's like I saw something about him and he was talking a lot about all the potato chips and fucking sodas and all that shit, eliminate all that from SNAP benefits, which that's really what needs to happen. It should be healthy, fruits and vegetables, meats, fucking nothing pre-processed, just, you know, good food for the body. But then again, I guess if you think about it, our foods at the fucking grocery store is so fucked up now anyways. Like I just watched a video the other night about, the prepackaged lettuce that you can buy,
Yeah,
like pre-made salads, all that, how they wash that shit in bleach and then package it. It's like, holy fuck, man! Think of the bullshit you're
yeah.
putting in your bodies.
All right, let's wrap this up. Guys, if you haven't already, go to any of the links on any of our bios, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or X. Um, Go click on our link tree, subscribe to our newsletter. Every Monday, you'll get a email with our new episode dropping. Every Thursday, we do a Throwback Thursday email with one of our past episodes. And it's really cool. It's kind of like a little, it'll break down kind of what's in the episode a little bit, and then I'll have a link to go watch it. And if you haven't seen it already, go to our X page. And I posted a new article today. I am I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm not gonna lie, pretty proud of myself. I put in some work into it. It is titled "Christian Churches and Organizations Are Lost," and I put in a pretty good work into it. So if you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind, go give it a read. Repost it, like it, give it a comment, whatever you do. But I think you guys will like it. Dusty, any closing?
Go like, share, and follow fucking everything, and fuck TikTok. Even though we're on it, fuck TikTok.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like, share, comment, subscribe, but never forget, text forever, motherfucker.